daycare workers, the list goes on, from wearing religious items or clothing such as the Muslim hijab, the Sikh turban and the Jewish kippah. At the same time, Christian symbols like a big crucifix that hangs in Quebec's provincial parliament and a huge cross that sits atop Montreal's Mount Royal will stay in place. The PQ says those are part of Quebec's cultural heritage. Others say this charter is nothing more than hypocrisy and xenophobia. Ihsaan Gardee is the executive director of the National Council of Canadian Muslims. So, Ihsaan, I want to get your take on this. I mean, is this xenophobia? Is it tribalism?
Well, I mean, I think it depends on who you ask. The Parti Québécois will say that it isn't, but it certainly appears that way, Todd. And to a large number of Canadians and to publications from across this Canada who have written about this topic, it does appear to be something that is really just playing on identity politics as a way of distracting the electorate from real issues that they are concerned about. Issues like the economy, like corruption, like unemployment. Just last month, there were 39,400 jobs lost in Canada, and out of those, 30,000 were lost in Quebec. So it seems at this point in time like a real distraction, and to put it in another way, it seems like a solution in search of a problem.
Ihsaan, we should also mention that the province's premier, Pauline Marois, has said this plan is going to help unite Quebec.
Well, I don't know how it's going to help unite Quebec when it's essentially creating a two-tiered system with individuals who will be deemed as second-class citizens because of the way they choose to express their religious convictions in terms of the way that they dress, whether, as you said, it's the kippah or the turban or the hijab. These are serious concerns, and one of the things that we'd like to see is more comment, for example, from our political leaders, and some of them have weighed in, but the near silence that has been coming from the Prime Minister's office has been almost deafening. You're wondering, what is the leader of our country saying about this? And there's really nothing coming out. And there's a Latin expression that goes "Qui tacit consentit videtur." In silence implies consent. So you're wondering, what direction should he be giving the Prime Minister and weighing in on this? And at the same time, hearing from other political leaders as well is something that we need.
Marois has said it will be a uniting force, this charter, but I want to bring up a board that was done by Léger Marketing, which is a big polling firm in the province. And it shows the following here. 65% of Francophone Quebecers agree that the charter would protect Quebec values, but there's a bit of a linguistic divide here because only 19% of the province's Anglophones agree, and just under 30% of Allophones, those whose first language is neither French nor English, agree with that. What do you make of these polling numbers?
Well, I mean, I think they reaffirm what we've seen from previous polling numbers, and some of the other numbers that you didn't mention were the fact that they saw more support for this charter outside of mainstream urban centres like Montreal. And that's something that poll after poll has confirmed for us, whether it's polls from the Trudeau Foundation, the Pew Forum and others. And that's the idea that the more interaction that people have with others or people they deem as other minorities, the more positively they tend to view them. And that's because it simply puts a human face on individuals, and it breaks down stereotypes and myths that people hold when they actually have a chance to interact with people who they may not normally have.
Just before we go, I mean, what are you hearing from folks in the community in Quebec about this and the concerns they have about possibly being denied work or children being targeted?
Well, there's a wide degree of concern that I've heard expressed about this, just because there's a lot of question marks about how will it be applied, how will it be policed if it does become law, and what will this mean for people who work in these professions. And we feel very strongly that our professions should be reflective of people from diverse backgrounds, because that's who we are as a nation that is comprised of people who have come from all parts of the world, and that's something that is admired around the world. Canada's commitment to multiculturalism, to pluralism, to values of mutual respect, tolerance and inclusion, and that's something that's really sad to see being used as a way to divide people here rather than unite them.
Ihsaan, thanks so much for making time for us today.